This is a story about growing up. Seeking change, we knew our young hearts and dirty fingernails were enough to join the community of spirit. There are some things students can't learn in books. We needed something of our own. We are growing up, and this is where it starts.
One of the first stairs.
Have you ever seen a zucchini that big? Oh, we ate it.
It was terrible.
It's not like it went to waste.
It's delicious and you know it.
It's tasty. Why set up a garden at a college, like an on-campus garden?
Well, I mean, higher education should be about preparing the next generation. We have, over the last 20 to 50 years, sort of moved higher education increasingly towards specialization and increasingly towards creating experts who are going to go out there and just sort of work for the existing job force and the existing industries and the existing economic structure. And if you believe that there's something not quite working well with that structure, then you need to use the leverage of the sort of social reproduction space of a school to create alternatives. Actually learning sustainable farming and sustainable gardening skills, learning how to grow the crops themselves, and in a sense, sort of beginning to think about that alternative, so when they graduate, they're sort of empowered to say, now I go and create my own sustainable farm. And that's the idea, is that this is the training ground, this is where the next generation is formed. Let's provide the kinds of alternatives we think are important going into the future.
Previous to the construction and growth of this garden, there was a sense on campus that we were very much an environmental community, but it was factioned and it was scattered about. The growth and the greenery and the labor that went into creating this garden has kind of organized that community and centralized it in a way that a lot of things on campus haven't been able to do.
It's really hard to start a garden from scratch. There's so many things that go into it, more than just planting seeds. There's so much planning and cooperation between other people, so I've been able to watch it grow from just a few people's plans into an actual producing, huge, beautiful, growing thing.
Fall semester 2009, last fall semester, is planning, researching, interviewing people who worked on gardens and farms at other colleges, doing a lot of research on farming in Florida, just really building a comprehensive plan and design for essentially a fully functioning farm on campus that could feed lots of people.
It was an extremely difficult project to pass through the administration. So in the winter, I believe the project got downsized and turned over to the students. So it was an entirely student-run project.
The school told us at the end of last fall semester, like at the very last minute, that they didn't really want to include the garden into their budgeting and their plans until next fall, which would be fall 2010. And the students really, like, as student leader, I personally didn't feel like that was a good idea. So we scaled the whole project down to a pilot project to gauge how successful it would be, and we started building it this semester. There's a lot of student projects that kind of get started with people who have all this enthusiasm, but around week 2 or 3, when you realize how much work is involved, people tend to lose interest. And luckily, Kip really showed us a good model as to how to organize ourselves, and he chose really good people to work on the independent studies, set up the garden. So we had we knew how much work it was going to take, and that this was a really big thing we were signing on to. That bed, all those beds, all the first 5 beds. There's people around campus, especially maybe some faculty and administration, who have this view. Undergraduates are kind of, for the most part, incapable of organizing themselves enough to have an extracurricular project be so successful. I think this is the first project that has really proved that students are capable of doing it. We are capable of working together and being mature enough to, see that all the grunt work is done and all the tedious sort of organizing and delegating and communicating is done to make our project successful.